Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Manil,
Yes, sir.
you are from Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes, sir.
There's a recent concept of village defense committees or squad. Have you heard?
Yes, sir.
What is that? First, to tell me about. And the second question related to your own place is the controversy over Ladakh.
So, Village Defense Committee aims at training the civilians with ammunitions and arms so as to tackle certain terrorist attacks, such as recently happened in Dangri village in Rajouri. And so it is a concept which came in light in 1990s and was prominent in the district of Kishtwar and Doda, where these village defense committees were formed. And so regarding the issue of Ladakh, so they are demanding for a separate statehood now, and instead they believe that they are not able to get that representative democracy. They want to restore and get a representative.
So, is the government also supporting village defense committees?
Yes, sir. Government has. Yes, sir. In Kishtwar, government has been supporting, and now it has also been looking into training the people in the areas of Poonch and Rajouri side also.
So don't you feel that that would take to the militarization of the society?
Sir, I believe that the way it has been successful in Kishtwar and Doda, so I think the same can also be replicated here. And as in Kishtwar and Doda for past 30 years, there hasn't been that kind of militarization of society.
But you must have heard about a movement called Salwa Judum in Chhattisgarh.
Yes, sir.
Where special police officers were also appointed.
Yes, sir.
And that virtually failed miserably, and the court also interfered.
Yes, sir.
And that was finally stopped.
Yes, sir.
So don't you feel that this would again take to the same, go to the same direction?
Sir, I believe that the government would have surely learned the lesson from that Salwa Judum case, and I think they would have reformed and taken what were the issues and all the problems, and thus this defense council is more refined and hopefully will act in the better direction.
And who will be the participants in those committees?
Sir, I am not sure.
Okay. And you told that Ladakh is demanding separate statehood.
Yes, sir. Now they have become a UT, and now they are demanding for a separate statehood, and certain sections are also demanding for 6th schedule.
What is your opinion? Shall it be granted?
Sir, I think that we can think about giving the 6th schedule status, but by first considering all the studies and.
What are the parameters to include a state in 6th schedule or 5th schedule or wherever?
Sir, firstly, there should be a significant amount of tribal population, STs, and based on their economic, the level of economic status, as well as their isolations and how they are interact with the mainstream society.
But Ladakh, I think, is more closer to cultural identity rather than tribal population. No?
Yes, sir. But sir, there are significant tribal populations also, such as Brokpas, Dardaryans.
So why 6th schedule? We have 5th schedule also.
Sir, they believe that they want that more autonomy.
No, I'm not asking what they believe. What is your opinion?
Sir, I believe that government should look into their demands and fulfill and ensure that they get integrated into the mainstream society.
PESA, have you heard? PESA.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
Sir, Panchayat Extension to Schedule Areas Act 1996, which was based
Where
on.
it is applied and enforced?
Yes, sir.
Where it is enforced?
Sir, PESA is enforced in. I can't remember the actual number of states, but it is in Himachal Pradesh. There are in Chamba district. It is enforced, and then we also have in.
So enforcement is district wise or?
So it's to scheduled areas. It is extended to scheduled areas, Panchayat. So sir, it's based on mainly about the ST populations.
Okay, Manil. Yes. It is said that unemployment is the bigger problem in J&K.
Yes, sir.
So how can we overcome this problem?
I think, sir, the most important factor is that J&K lacks an industrial base, a strong manufacturing and industrial base. So I believe that with now annulment of Article 370, the industries are now coming and the investments are not flowing. So in coming time, I believe that as the industrial sector picks up, the unemployment rate will hopefully come down.
So do you see any development changes in?
Yes, I see immense infrastructure development in the past 8 months to 1 year. I haven't seen during my past 20 years, I haven't seen that kind of infrastructure. So the national highways have been widening. A lot of there are changes in land, real estate, and in the land allocation policies have been changed. And also the saffron policy, the government is promoting the saffron cultivation, as well as the tourism, which has also increased after annulment of Article 370.
Okay. What is human capital?
So human capital means to develop humans through providing education, healthcare, and skill and voluntary training development, so as they become an asset for the country.
And how can we do this?
So I think the foremost is education. We need a good.
But that is a long run process.
Yes, sir.
In its short run.
So we can do through skill development processes. The government now through the new education policy also, the government is trying to integrate vocational training as with the theoretical aspects, academic aspects. So I believe that in that short term that can also help.
That will be also helpful to overcome the problems of J&K, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act?
Sir, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act was enacted in 2016 to deal with the bad assets of the bank, to reduce the time to wind off the companies or to merging or their exiting, depending upon the quality of the assets they have and the debt, mainly a debt resolution.
And do you think this is a sufficient solution to overcome the bad debt?
So I think that it has brought dividends, certain dividends. The timing of the shutdown of companies has decreased, but I think that we also need to look into corporate culture also. Corporate governance is a need so that they don't indulge in these kind of practices.
And how it is different from SARFAESI Act, earlier one?
So I'm not 100%.
Okay, what was the need of this Insolvency and Bankruptcy Act, Bankruptcy Code?
So mainly was so the company don't lose their values, because as they file for bankruptcy, a very long time, the process took very long time. So they didn't get the assets. The remaining assets would also, downgrades, and they won't be able to get that value. So IBC provides for a company of resolution. There is a resolution company and independent agents and commissions who look into and provide the best deal they can provide in the shortest period of time.
Okay. There are a lot of problems in agriculture and allied sector of Indian economy. So what is the role of livestock?
I think that livestock can play a great role, which can act as an insurance coverage for the farming sector. And especially India can explore into its fishing sector, because India has an immense potential in that area. However, we are not able to tap into that as compared to the other nations.
Can you name one or two scheme of the government?
So fishing?
No, for livestock.
Livestock. So there is National Dairy Production Program, and we have 𝐼𝐸 Vikas Yojana. But
okay. Thank you, sir.
Is Article 370 repealed?
Yes, sir.
It is repealed?
Yes, sir.
So what is the validity of Jammu and Kashmir Order 2019? Legal validity?
So Jammu Kashmir Order 2019.
Okay, one more question. You said that Jammu and Kashmir is getting lots of infrastructural development and others. But I think that kind of development will actually destroy the intricate culture of the valley, for which Article 370 was probably incorporated.
Sorry, sir, but I beg to differ here. I believe that they also need employment, because J&K is one of the most unemployed state, and the Kashmir Valley youth, though they are educated, but they are not being able to get that quality employment. And I believe that the development of infrastructure will on the other hand strengthen their identity and will also able them to work in their area only with very good economic status.
So you are very optimistic that that would reduce or bring
Yes,
it
sir.
minimum to the minimum level about,
Yes.
about terrorism and other things.
Yes, sir, I believe that's
Manil Bejotra.
yes.
So tell us a little bit about your name, Manil
So
Bejotra.
Manil is a Hindi name and it's come from man. Man is the main word. It means that one who follows his mind, जो मन के अनुसार चले.
And Bejotra,
So
what's the root
Bejotra-
word?
Yes, sir.
What's the root word of your surname, Bejotra?
So Bejotra is mostly to deal with the Kumhar caste, that
Okay.
of pottery. So they are associated with pottery.
Okay. There is a very ancient Vedic word, Hotra,
Go.
which was one of the professional categories associated with priestly activities. So I suspected that it might have to do with that as well. That's called, such kind of studies are referred to what? When you look into the origin of a word and try to study its growth across time. What is that called?
Word, sir. I think I am not sure, but I think it's etymology.
Very good. Etymology. Okay. I think lure for armed forces runs into your family.
Yes, sir.
Your father is in Merchant Navy?
Yes, sir. He earlier served in Indian Navy
Indian
and then
Navy.
retired in 1998.
Okay. And you also sat for the National Defense Academy
Yes, sir.
examination.
Yes, sir.
So what is that lure that you can identify for armed forces as a service, as a
Sir, I
profession?
think that armed force is not a service, but it is a way of life.
Okay.
I believe that they had a very disciplined and a different kind of lifestyle, which the other kind of services cannot provide. And so coming from that background, because my cousins as well as my uncles are also associated with either armed forces or BSF and other kind of services, so there's that kind of environment in the home.
Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force, they they brand their profession through advertisements with very catchy taglines. Are you aware of it?
So I'm not aware now, but during my school days, I was aware. I was
A
very
cut above the rest.
Yes, I was very aware about the pilot when I can.
A cut above the rest refers to what? Navy, Army, or Air Force marketing as a profession?
So I'm not sure, but if
Yes, this is a
I
common
think
sense.
that it is Air Force.
Air Force, above the rest.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you are a mechanical engineer by training,
Yes, sir.
and you also are working.
No, sir, I was working in Vedanta Limited.
Okay.
I worked till March 19, 2020.
So what was your work profile like?
So I was associated with outbound logistics department.
Oh, all right.
So which deals with the export of finished goods, ensuring that we take the goods, finished goods from cast house, and then ensuring all the inventories as well as stocking and stuffing to
All right.
the customer.
Joshimath is sinking.
Yes, sir.
Suppose you are the district magistrate over there, right? You have had a formal training as mechanical engineer and so forth. Obviously, there will be several other resources that will be at your command in dealing with the situation. So what is that extra edge as a mechanical engineering that you will bring into play in tackling this issue?
So I think that I can deal with the people more effectively by making them understand the things.
That's an art in communication. Your mechanical engineering training. Okay, go ahead.
So the mainly mechanical engineering as a DM. So I believe that
All right. You are also interested in cricket.
yes, sir.
You have led your team as
Yes,
well
sir.
in past. What accounts for the oddity of this game, particularly the test version of cricket, as a modern age game?
So I believe that test version is really like a life. As life tests you from day to day, samely the test game tests you from session to session. And I believe that it is the core cricket. it is a real gentleman's game.
So much of your answers are about lifestyle. Indian Army is life, way of life, right?
Sir, I see
Cricket
life,
is way of life.
Sir, maybe my vision is the way I observe things.
Okay, go ahead. Bolo.
So sir, I still believe that test game is here to
Is
stay.
life that leisurely? Is life that leisurely that you play a game, such a competitive, internationally played game in pajamas, and you can even sport goggles, right?
But sir,
and you have a rest day. You used to have rest day till recently, and for 2 innings you play this game, and most likely it will end in a tame draw. Does it go in sync with the ethos of modernity in terms of exactitude? समय नहीं होता, सभी कुछ बंधा हुआ है.
no sir, I beg to differ. I think that it still goes with the modernity, because though you are saying that they're in trousers and all the rest, but I think that there's another mental pressure, and then there's their technical things which are at stake, and there's that 150-kilometer ball coming at you and you can get hit.
Lawn tennis services are way faster than
But sir, that's the ladder.
Shoaib Akhtar
Sir,
bowling.
ladder and the rubber ball has a difference.
But they don't wear
They don't wear
protective
helmets
equipments.
But sir, instead of wearing also, there are people who have died also just by hitting the ball, just as Philly Hooks died. So sir, I believe that thing. And so that coming to a tame draw, so I think that in the end we all die. So that's the
Life
same kind
is
of
also
thing.
life can
So-
also end in a tame draw.
So
Okay.
we don't know
Good
what's
one.
on the other side.
Okay, thank you.
So, Manil, India is a union of the state. That is what the constitution says, right?
Yes, sir.
And when the central government basically withdrew Article 370, and for the first time in the Indian history, that in independent Indian history, that the state was reduced to a
Oops,
we
the
always
last.
see upgradation. The first time we saw a downgrade. And there were also question marks on the way it was done. What are your views on that?
Sir, I believe that coming into UT, I think the J&K had a unique problem. The border states surrounded by hostile countries, as well as the serious law and order situation, as well as problem of national integration. So I believe that bringing that into UT was the right step. But yes, regarding the implementation, I also believe that there could have been certain steps which could have been done more efficiently and more better, such as the ban on internet, which just went for too long. It went for around 1 year, and after that only 2G net was restored. So that's the one aspect due to which a lot of economic losses, the people also face many hardships. So that are certain things I believe that government could do, but still also I think that their intent was right.
So, when you say intent was right, the method was wrong.
No, sir, I am not saying method was wrong. I am saying that implementation could have been more better, more.
Could have improved. They could have improved on it. So, look, the reason why government acted in a particular way was basically there was no political consensus around it. You could not have actually made the regional parties of J&K to agree to what they were doing. So, what was the better? How could have they acted better?
So I think that maybe the prominent leaders of the J&K could have been consulted. I believe that then also the certain kind of consensus could have been made.
You believe so?
Yes, sir.
Even after looking at what the reaction in the aftermath was?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Tell me something. You read fictional books,
Yes, sir.
and especially the English translation.
Yes, sir.
So, which was the recent one that you have?
So I read Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf.
Okay. And the one which was Booker shortlist or went on to win Booker, the novel?
He said The Tomb of Saint by Gitanjali Shri.
Have you read that?
No, sir, not yet.
So, tell me why a mechanical engineer should be looking for a career in bureaucracy?
Because I think that the kind of diversity in civil services is incomparable to any other, and civil services still remain the topmost services in the country. and the mechanical engineer, it's much more of a specialized services. The main question comes after 10-15 years you are doing the same thing over and over, that kind of specialization. So I believe that in bureaucracy I get a more kind of diversity and more kind of a connect, as well as that leadership position and challenges.
Are you suggesting a mechanical engineer who starts with a one level of technology doesn't actually improve on his skill set entire his career?
No, sir, I believe that they improve on, but sir, that's my personal, what I have worked in the corporate sector, and my personal interest was here in the bureaucracy.
Please, thank you.
If I take thread from your words about a way of life, don't you feel that mechanics itself is a way of life?
So, yes, sir. So everything can be a way of life, I
Yeah.
believe.
Then why to shift from mechanical
It's a
engineering
master
to
key that we're
administration?
Sir, I think I would like to quote Arthur Schopenhauer. He says that you do what you want, but you cannot want what you want.
That's good.
So I think that's why civil services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
I will also continue with the same discussion that as a skill, technical skill you're having, and you're given an administrative job. So, technological innovation, if you want to perceive that, and it's like something like AI or anything innovative, you want to diffuse in that society and the region which you are heading. So, how will you push it, or how will you like to implement it? Would be what is the policy measure you will suggest?
So I think that the most importantly, I would ensure that there shouldn't be loss of labor losses.
All right, one point.
Regarding that is the most important. And second, that it should not be used against humans.
Okay, not specifically AI, any technology. What should be the method?
So I believe that it should start from small pilot projects,
Okay.
and then depending upon taking all the feedbacks, monitoring as well as training the personals involved, and small group of personals involved, and then all the feedbacks we get, then we can upgrade depending upon that data and statistics.
So it shouldn't be completely a top-down approach. It should
No.
be a combination.
Yes, ma'am. I believe that AI is very transformative and very powerful.
AI is different. Yeah. AI has a totally different pathway. So, do you understand the term tragedy of commons?
Tragedy of
Commons.
I have heard, but
Yeah.
this time I am not able to click.
Global common? Global good?
Global commons related to environment, that environment and
Okay.
other things like.
You can read about it later.
Okay, yes.
Market for emissions? Any idea about that?
Yes, ma'am. Kyoto Protocol had that carbon trading system.
Carbon trading system. Any example you know about it?
Example ka hai.
Example. Green GDP?
Green GDP is that we not only look into economic growth but also the biodiversity.
How do you measure that?
Exact measurement.
What kind of a policy recommendation you'll suggest to tap demographic dividend? You understand the demographic dividend?
Yes.
What measure would you take to tap that?
The foremost, I believe that education, which is the most important, that the people should be educated.
Only educated?
No,
Literate?
good education and also that vocational and skill training are important, as well as we need a strong industrial sector so that we can absorb them. all the
Employment
Yes,
oriented,
ma'am.
skill
Yes, ma'am.
based education.
And then health is another where we need to do a lot.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Manil.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When is your interview?
The date has not
Okay.
yet.
So it must be in March,
Yes, sir.
not before March.
अच्छा इतना स्प्रेड होता है
Well, 1st January they are starting
31st
and taking to I think 20th of
कितना है वैकेंसी में कितने लोगों को कॉल किया है
Vacancy तो
सर
वही
अभी 1026 को कॉल किया है
1026
और अराउंड 2550 स्टूडेंट्स हैं टोटल.
ओके
Manil-
नहीं 1026
Now
वैकेंसी
vacancies
हाँ,
is 1010.
1010 is the vacancy.
ओह
2500
Yes, sir. 2005.
2.5 or 2.3
550.
something.
Manil, you came across to us as a very pleasant and confident person, right? And I think even in the actual interview, you will cast similar kind of impression if you continue this tempo, and it will be very refreshing. You appear different from the usual stock of the aspirants. That's something that goes with you. We also noticed your honesty in terms of not shying away from saying no, you don't know, right? Which is a problem with quite a few candidates, and it can't be improved upon in one go. So that's another good thing that you need to hone and continue with. But I feel that you also need to improve upon your analytics. Little bit of sharper analytics is something that can be expected of you because of your mechanical engineering background, right? So a little bit of sharpness in your analysis, right? Pleasant, acceptable kind of answer is something that most of the aspirants end up with, but you can, make it a little more sharper. Okay.
I think your answer should be better. Why are you shifting when you ask? Why are you shifting from mechanical to administration? I think
Yes.
there was a very general answer. There is a diverse field. These are specific. Try to think something else.
और क्वेश्चन को और अभी मतलब
सर मतलब मेजर रीजन तो यही है कि पढ़े नहीं उतने ढंग से, मतलब कि सर पता ही नहीं था क्या करना
बट
है।
अगर
पढ़ाई में अच्छे थे तो साइंस ले लो, तो
क्वेश्चन में भी कि आप आर्म फोर्सेस में भी आपका बैकग्राउंड है,
हाँ जी,
है ना, तो फिर आर्म फोर्सेस में भी डाइवर्सिटी है और आप डिसिप्लिन है, व्हाई आर यू गोइंग फॉर ब्यूरोक्रेसी? अभी और सर उसको खींच सकते थे, बट
Is this your first attempt?
इंटरव्यू फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट एंड अदरवाइज सेकंड अटेम्प्ट।
Second attempt. So people will
बट अच्छा
look up to you, for actually making it. So take yourself little more seriously and work on those areas that we have identified.
Technological mindset,
Yes.
how we are applying administration. Is that a good answer? We'll see in next mock. Right, but you have very high potential. How was your mains?
So it was good. I am hoping for 800 plus.
Balanced.
What was the
sir.
subject?
All papers more or less balanced.
Yes.
What
sir.
was your option subject?
Anthropology?
Oh, we missed out anthropology
वो
altogether.
हमारे पास सर वो प्रिंट आउट नहीं था ना डी
Ah,
That's
okay,
why.
okay.
Yes.
Or that. वो series में था ना WhatsApp में.
Now you rate us. How did you feel about your interaction with us?
So it was a good interaction. It was a lively interaction.
You
very
appeared-
cordial.
You appeared mock in other centers also?
No, sir. This is my first mock in Delhi. I just came yesterday only from Jammu
Okay.
because I studied.
You prepared
Studied,
there?
yeah, from home only.
You are communicating more through your hand gesture.
No, sir. I believe that it was also during the interview, sir.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, yes, because I was conscious.
You should be.
Yes.
You should be. It's not as if you should let it go like that. And such movement should not happen
Yes, sir.
in the formal
And now,
situation. Okay. So good.
Sir, there is a one thing that I have opted IPS as fifth choice.
So
That's okay.
You wanted to go to a uniform service?
हाँ
So that was in +2, and after that why transformation came in graduation, reading the books and all
how it
these things.
is? What is the sequence?
IAS, IFS, IRS Custom and Indirect Taxes, IRS
IT.
IT, and then IPS.
Why IPS?
Because sir, only I was associated with logistics department, so there was a IRS officer on deputation, and he had a different kind of aura there. So that was the one thing, and I also dealt with that BOL and custom houses. There were some connections there.
So you rather attempt this kind of an answer to such questions in case they are why IPS is not your second choice. You use it to your advantage. You say that it's my extra love for foreign services after IAS. The diversity of job in IAS.
So I can deal with IFS. I will deal. I know that. But if they ask that why IRS is above IPS,
When you IRS, that is indirect tax, customer.
yes, a custom and indirect taxes is third choice.
then you can say that the kind of
Job profile.
exposure you had in Vedanta,
Yes, sir.
that has already made you abreast with the issues that basically industry faces. And I mean, I can contribute there because I've seen the market from the other side. As a service availer, I have seen. So as a service provider, I can improve or contribute to that.
This is good answer.
Job profile supports.
ठीक है ना?
Yes, sir.
और PS की तो बोलना disillusionment हो गया. I have become more literary and more, you know. So you can actually say कि I read GB Shaw.
GB Shaw.
हाँ,
Okay.
Superman
Okay,
versus-
sir. I will read. I will read. I had 2 books,
so-
Pygmalion and Man and Superman, but I haven't
Man
read
and
yet.
Superman basically is
Okay.
a comment on this.
Okay.
Basically, a conversation between 2 soldiers in the Second World War trenches. And why they say talk about futility of war, why uniforms should be actually discarded with. तो बोला initiate हो गया मैं.
Okay, sir.
हाँ,
Okay, sir.
Because you say translation. Because
Yes,
you talk about translation.
Yes, because generally I mostly study that Latin American literature. I am very interested in, and the Russian and German, but I don't know the languages, so
So
English
whom do you
translation.
read? Losa?
No, so I read
Borges?
Jorge Luis Borges is my favorite writer,
अच्छा,
and then I am currently reading Julio Cortázar,
अच्छा.
and so they are just mind blowing.
That's fine.
Brush a little climate also, climate
Yes,
change
yes.
related, environment related things.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Just the basic concepts.
good. Right.
Okay.
So,
Thank you,
all
sir.
the best.
Thank you.